Today we have a wonderful guest with us, Mrs. Reena Sharkil, dedicated to the educational industry for the past 22 years. She has been teaching English and currently working as PGT Sociology in a prestigious college of Prayagraj. Her years of experience as a teacher has helped her to form a teaching philosophy that guides her students to succeed in classroom and beyond. She strives to create a space for students to explore their own interest and bring about a radical transformation in their perspective and outlook to unleash their potentials. She also nurtures flair for dramatic and has directed several plays and dance drama in English and Bengali, dealing with Indian mythology and human emotions. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening, Rekha.
Welcome to my channel, English to English, and this is going to be my next interview series. And thank for being my guest, ma'am, and thank for taking out your time also. And thanks for being patient also while I was fumbling with this technical glitches. So, as we have decided earlier, ma'am, that our conversation is going to be on that is LSRW, and today we have to find out some kind of solution with the most of the student face regarding this thing, and I'm sure that our conversation is going to be very nice, and our viewers, they are going to get a lot of value addition in their life. So ma'am, coming to my first question, ma'am, as we know that English subject is very, very difficult for students as a second language. It is very difficult for students. I'm not talking about subject, sorry. As a language, it is very difficult for the students, to write and to speak up. So, you can call it as kind of psychological fear, which has there, from the very beginning, they come to the college, they come to school, and they face with this language. They have this fear, and being a teacher, we have to go to the core of the problem, to the depth of the problem, to solve out the problem, that why they are facing this kind of problem. This might be a kind of psychological problem. It is not that only Hindi medium student face this problem. If we talk about English medium student also, they also have this kind of problem when they have to speak in English or they have to write in English. Even we know that they get everything ready on silver platter by getting exposed to this language from the very beginning. They know that everybody is speaking out there, but still they face this problem. And I suppose that this problem comes from their taking English as a subject, not as a language, by getting their copy corrected, by filling up the blanks, or doing what you call that is grammar exercises, or the question which is given at the back of the text, the solving all the question. This make them understand that this is a subject, not as a language, So, ma'am, just tell me that being a language teacher, what is or what are our responsibility to make them understand these, LSRW thing, and how to, what is the actually the role of a teacher, language teacher?
Yes, Rekha, first of all, I feel very honored to be a like part of your YouTube channel. And
Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best for your future endeavors too. Now, coming up to your question, this reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills. See, they are all skills. And all of us might not be, having or acquire such skills right from our childhood. And being a part of this multilingual country where like at a difference of one mile or like 1 kilometer the dialect changes. So
Exactly.
how to inculcate the right attitude for the speaking English? So first of all, the thing is, like what we hear. Yes. So we like tend to follow. So right from the beginning, to have a habit of listening. So there is a difference between hearing and listening.
Exactly.
Listening is related to phonetics. How you like grasp the correct pronunciation. A says ah, isn't it? So this attitude, and it like depends on the curriculum design of schools, where we are definitely promoting English, since till now it's still the official language of the country. So, and we want our children to be globally connected, and English is the language. It's the like widely spoken language in the world. So we cannot like rule out the importance of this language. So listening, ability to listen correctly is very important. Then if I come to speaking, how does, there is a difference. If you go to Bangalore, there a small kid of 3 years old will be able to do a normal conversation with you in English. But why not here? So actually, it's the surrounding. It's the way you develop attitudes and habits. Then the major obstacle which I feel is here, we we think in Hindi, or we think in our own language, and then we try to convert it into English with a lot of hassles and difficulty. So
Exactly.
the moment we start thinking in English, the thing will be easier. And why not start with small sentences? Initial beginners can always overcome this fear of speaking. Yes, there is a lot of fear of public speaking. You like you might be using the right kind of vocabulary, the right grammatical tones and everything, but still there is a hitch. There is a problem. So this psychosis will only be over when you start thinking it in English language. Then let me shift to writing. This writing is basically like what I feel English is about, the usage of words, the proper words. There are so many synonyms if we keep on reading. Earlier, like what I feel like in my childhood, if even if we are like going for a short trip, even for 1 hour trip, we used to have one or the other book. Like till date in my bag, you will find out one Outlook, one India Today, or any such like magazine. And I was like very fond of Mills and Boons too, let me tell you. So all this added to the flair for this, English language. So this again, what you read, what you listen will definitely affect your speaking as well as your writing skill. So your vocabulary is not built in a day. You have to keep on trying, adding new words to your collection, and keep on using them from time to time. So, as a teacher, what I feel, all teachers, in fact, should encourage children to write. See, if it is a like 6 to 8, like grade, the middle school, they can obviously ask them to write small stories with beautiful characters, and there is so much of literature available. So this reading has to be, uh, we should encourage them to inculcate the habit of reading at all levels. So then only they will come up with good words, good themes, and they will be, no, like what is lacking in English? The art of conversation. See, the ability to express your ideas, your opinions clearly, isn't it? So the like whatever is going on in our mind, the message is sent across. So same thing, is applicable even to writing. How we can write, certain like topics can be floated extemporally in the class, and we can have an open house discussion on it, and then ask the children to write. At a very junior level, I'd seen one teacher in my school, going in for an object talk. She had one apple in her hand, and she was, like trying to bring out different words related to the shape, the color, the utility, the liking, and all that. So, similarly, at all levels, we have got many ways where we can encourage our children to speak English. So, it's not a Herculean task. So, let us all make an effort. And I hope I'm able to answer like your question.
Absolutely,
Just
ma'am. I'm quite satisfied with your answer. So, ma'am, the thing is that we teacher have to be very, very, alert, to make our student learn this language. We have to motivate them, our willingness, our attitude, our ability to connect with students, our body language, or our what you call that is communication skill. It means that our non-verbal communication skill, it
is
works a
very
lot more
important.
to, it's very
And
important.
the road to is like not to the classroom. The end
Exactly.
route of teacher is where you can impress or affect a child's life beyond that classroom too. That's a new
Exactly, to
horizon.
make them good person, in their
Yes.
life.
And like what I feel, an English teacher can develop so many things. I used to feel like when my English teacher used to enter my class, there used to be, so much. Have you seen that movie where like Sushmita Sen is a teacher, and where she
I
enters the class, there is a lot of, background music. So that English teacher comes with that aura to the classroom. So to
exactly. See, create
create,
a positive vibes,
yes,
Yeah,
that
that's
is how the student will be encouraged to learn that language from you. You have
exactly,
to
ma'am.
take it out. It's not an easy task for the teacher.
Ma'am, coming to my next question. As we know that our every school has a kind of structure or a syllabus, as we know, and they have to complete this syllabus within a given period of time. And you know few syllabi and some curriculum, it gives a kind of flexibility to the student to work on their own, you know
Okay,
to go
okay.
to their own space. Like,
Yes,
if you have to complete your syllabus within a given period, you cannot allow student to work on their own space to grow as they really want to grow. Like if I talk about reading thing, okay, so, reading only textbook is needed to them. They only get access to read only the textbook, because beyond textbook, they don't get time to read. Even we find that all the schools, they claim that to cover up all four skills of learning this language, but it doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't happen because they need to cover up the whole syllabus within a given period of time. They don't give students so much access to reach to their own label, to form something, to develop something of their own, or to create something, or to read out something. And this thing, this structure or syllabus, it create a kind of problem when it is come to language learning. So let's take the example of reading. As we know that reading is very, very important for language learning. And students, they get a lot of information, they a lot of access to knowledge, everything. Their mind get expands, their mind get exposed to various situations. If they read some novels, some fictions, they are able to visualize the whole situation, scenes, and they like lots of things are there. They are able to create the situations. So everything they does, they do. if you talk about the students. So here we see that this reading things not only does this thing, but also it helps to develop the personality of the students too, and it helps in the cognitive things also, like this reading thing gives a lot of access to like critical thinking and problem solving, creativity, lots of things it does. So ma'am, the thing is that out of course, if the students wants to read something, wants to write something, let's come to reading point only. How being a teacher you are going to motivate the student to read something out of the text, apart from the text.
apart from the
So
textbook?
yeah. So how it is possible, ma'am? How can we do it?
Uh, like, see, uh, I belong to a CBSE school and I take class 10 grade. So there is this English, learning. I'm talking
Yeah.
about learning is the
Mm.
last thing happening. First of all, the students, they are engrossed in doing mathematics. Then comes science, then comes social science, and after that, if there is some time remaining, then only they just switch over to English. So, looking
I do
like
agree
for
with
a
you.
looking for a scope to read regularly, I think chances are less. But
Very less, yeah.
if I talk about holistic approach only to speaking or reading, see, okay, you have like taken reading, okay, so why not when we are dealing with some history chapter, why not take up it as a reading?
Exactly.
So, and sometimes what happens, I have seen like my students, like for civics and for economics, they refer to some other books. That is also a part of reading. So, like unconsciously, actually, reading is happening. And
Yeah, exactly.
how much after reading you are able to retain that context, the use of words, the pronunciation is very important. So, from time to time, if we have an holistic approach in our school, if we can sort out things between teachers, keeping this ego aside that I am an English teacher and you are a social science teacher, so if we can keep it at bay, even we can also deal with art integration. It's a new topic in our CBSE. So what happens? The art teacher, now suppose she has asked to like take up any artifact of any like state. So to uh, like to bring it out, the teacher can ask about its comprehension, that how was this item made. So in that comprehensive skills are used. So that oral part of how he or she has made it will automatically be the part where she has read about it. So only after that effective reading can an effective speaking or writing take place. So
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
this reading can also happen when you are traveling, when you are going from some place to another. There also you can take up reading. Then utilization of library. That period can be utilized. And like this, I want to share. This is a like very interesting part. What we used to do, like when I was teaching the primary like grade, what we used to do, we used to have a class library. Like we teachers and children, we were supposed to give one library as a part of like whenever we had a birthday. It can be
Okay.
it can be a used book. It could have been one new book, so that that class library existed. So after a child finished his or her work in class, he or she was motivated to take one book from that pile. And she used to feel so proud about it that, yes, see, class, I could manage to finish my work before the stipulated time. So why
Exactly.
not take a book from the library and read it? So she is reading, isn't it? So seeing
Exactly.
one child in that classroom, it motivated others. Then what I do in like my class, reading something like some we have one like notebook, this is just which is in like rotation. So every week that notebook is given to a child where he or she is asked to like pen down certain things. It could be excuse me, it could be like something normal. Last year I got so many writings related to lockdown. So and then that child was asked to read it. So and not reading blah blah blah. What I like encourage to use proper intonation. If it is a question mark, if there is a comma, if there is a
Some kind of pause.
all emotions, all
All
expressions.
emotions. Exactly.
So this way, reading and listening both will be, like it will like reach a level where everybody will be interested in doing it. I'm talking of the class
Exactly.
level. So these are the, and I'm sure globally there are so many ways. Then another thing which I used to do every day, I used to give two words to my students,
Wow, that's really
same
nice.
sentences. So they used to look from here and there. Earlier, like we did not have internet, access to internet was not that easy. So they used to look, they used to talk, they used to, so like suppose
Take
some
sentences.
talking was happening, you know, and then those sentences were read out in the classroom. Just
Wow.
5 minutes, just 2 3 minutes apart from that syllabus, prescribed syllabus. And as English teachers, we invite the entire world inside the classroom sometimes. We can go beyond, the existing syllabus. And like
Absolutely right, ma'am. I do agree with your point, ma'am.
and
Reading,
one thing I would like to add on, as English teachers, we need to learn how to bring in dramatic relief in the class. That is very important. Reading Shakespeare, dealing with so many kinds of letters, sometimes it's so boring. So that dramatic relief can only happen along with an English teacher. So it's
exactly.
very important to deal with certain situations. Over to
Yeah,
you,
a
Rick.
teacher is a versatile genius. He has to deal with lots of things. Sometimes he has to be an actor also in the classroom.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
yeah, the teaching should be spontaneous, ma'am. It should not come as a mechanical thing. Like what happens, or sometimes what we do that we give some kind of essay to write to our student, and we give them some stipulated time, that you have to write this essay within this period, and tomorrow you need to submit the copy. So the student, they don't get time to think upon their creativity, how to write the essay. So naturally they go to Google to search it out and write it down. So everything should be spontaneous, it should be in flow, it should be natural, so that student can learn it in a better environment. Okay, ma'am, coming to my next question. My next question is about listening thing. As we all know that listening is very, very important for learning a language. The more you listen, the better you become. So, ma'am, actually, in today's digital disruptive world, if the student possesses this quality of unlimited, or what you call undivided listening thing, it is a kind of gift to him, for the listener. And that is why, I just want to ask you that how can we develop this listening thing? Because we know that listening is very, very important. It not only if you're listening something, if the student gets this habit of listening patiently, it is actually it is a process of being patience also. He's learning the art of patience, and then his views, his responses are getting heard. People give them some kind of their thoughts, their views are always appreciated, the person who listened carefully. So ma'am, I just want to know that listening thing, how can we develop this listening thing? Because it is very we have seen that in the classroom only, when teacher is teaching students, they don't listen very they don't give a kind of active listening, rather they deviate from listening, sometime looking here and there. So how it can be possible for them to be a very very devoted listener? So, ma'am, I just want to know what is the role of a teacher to make the student learn, attentively or listen attentively.
See, like what I feel, that it's not only related to students. Like what happens, uh, it's we only want to listen what we want.
Exactly.
Apart from that, what happens, we develop a wall of immunity. We get so immune that if we do not want to listen, you keep on speaking, we'll not listen. And it is happening with, I think, more or less everybody. So this listening, how can we develop listening, is a really a tough challenge.
Really. When
Sometimes
everybody,
we
yeah,
teachers feel that the students are physically present but mentally absent in the class. So, and we are able to like make it out. So what we can do is, like while teaching, uh, we can like plan out that our daily planner accordingly, and in between, if we keep on giving
asking
small,
questions.
asking oral questions, that will help them to connect back in the class.
Exactly. Mhm.
And then from time to time, we can ask them to read like from this paragraph. So there, like what happens if we are not attentive, we are not listening actually. So this attention, and like some of the very good schools in our city too have like started this meditation in the morning. If we start the day with meditation, and I feel this skill of listening will definitely improve with like meditation. If along with it, if we ask them to concentrate what they can hear, so they will come up with like various examples. Like they will say, I heard a bird, which normally we will not hear. I heard the leaves ruffle. So so many things are happening all together. I heard those footsteps. So this concentration can happen, in collectivity too. One doesn't, require to sit separately to enhance his or her listening ability. Then all CBSE schools have attempted uh, a skill device which is known as ASL, Assessment of Speaking and Listening Skills, where we ask them to listen to a paragraph or a conversation between two people, or like we can invite like somebody, and we can always draw a conversation in the class. And after that, there are questions. It's a part of the internal assessment till class 12. So, like 20 marks are allotted specially for ASL to develop all four skills, especially listening and writing. So, this listening, after they listen, there is a questionnaire which they have to fill. So, gradually they come to the point where I feel they listen. But there are some students, you will find them doing something, and the moment you ask them questions, they're the brighter one, they'll be able to answer you. So
Yeah.
their intellect works, not their listening ability. So listening like should not be like connected sometimes to the availability of the right answer, of how have they perceived like whatever they are listening. That matters a lot. So that attitude, the right direction, the right way of how you have taken that child in that present scenario, that affects the listening quality.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Actually, in today's, people are obsessed so much with this thing, like, they are indulged in themselves. So everybody is tooting their own horns. So in this world, if somebody has got this habit, this quality of attentive listener, that's really a kind of boon for them. So, ma'am, thank you so much for being my guest and giving so much
Pleasure was
quality
entirely
information.
mine.
Yeah. And so giving so much quality information to my viewers. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Hoping to get connected with you again in future. Thank you, lot. Thanks a lot,
Wish you
ma'am.
all the best, Rekha, and
Thank
God bless
you.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye. Take care.
Bye bye.